If you want to retire early, have passive income, and break out of the paycheck to paycheck cycle, you need assets. And one of the most powerful wealth building strategies the everyday person can use, even if you're not rich, even if you're starting from nothing, even if you don't make a ton of money every month, is going to be buying a 1 to 4 unit property as your first property using an FHA loan, or your second property maybe if you already have a single family home. But today I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. This is going to be step by step, how to buy your first property, live in one unit, rent out the others, and later scale into more real estate, either using the same process or DSCR loans, which are a little bit different, even if you don't have massive income. Okay, so this is going to be the blueprint to financial freedom, the blueprint for financial success in the future, setting your retirement up for success through real estate, especially here in Los Angeles. So most people think they need to save for years and years and years for a single family home first, but here's the secret that wealthy people and probably private equity aren't really telling you here, is that a single family home costs you money. A duplex, a triplex, or fourplex can pay you money. It can make you money. So you live in one unit, your tenants are helping you pay the mortgage and offset that mortgage. You become a homeowner and an investor with solid cash flow at the same time. This is how normal people get ahead. Not by working harder, but by letting assets work for them. Right, to use the cliche, don't work harder, work smarter, right? FHA loans are going to be built for first-time home buyers, right? They're 3.5% down, lower credit requirements. You can buy 1 to 4 units. You can live there for 1 year minimum, then you're free to move out after that. And after that, the property becomes a full rental asset that's just giving you solid cash flow, consistent cash flow. And the reality is you don't need $200,000 saved. You don't need a huge salary. You just need a plan. And that's what we're building right now. Because think about it, instead of putting down $200,000 on the property that you want, you're putting down, say it's $1 million property with 2 or 3 units, with 3 units even, and you're putting down $35,000 on that. That's fantastic. That is a great investment that you can make. That's a great entry point into real estate, where you're getting a cash flowing investment and a place to live. So here's some realistic, more Los Angeles focused scenarios. So let's get real. LA isn't cheap, but this strategy still works with the right expectations. And even though LA isn't cheap, you're gonna have a higher cash on cash return in LA because of the appreciation, because of the market that we have here. You have more of an opportunity to make more money quicker. So typical price ranges are going to be in LA for a duplex. I mean, it depends where you're going, but maybe anywhere from $650 up to 1.2 million for a triplex. Maybe anywhere from 800 up to 1.6 million. Maybe for a fourplex, anywhere from 1 to 2 million. Right. So for an example property, let's say a $950,000 duplex in Los Angeles, 3.5% down on that is going to be $33,250. Closing cost on that and reserves is going to be about probably $25,000 to $35,000. So the total to get in, all in, $58,000 to $70,000. And some of those closing costs are even, we're going to try and negotiate for the seller to pay them, especially in a market like this. That's something we can do. So now for the revenue. Unit A, you live in it, okay? So this one is going to be more in like a duplex scenario here. Unit A, you live in it. Unit B rents for $2,500 or $3,300 a month, depending on the area and the condition. So estimated mortgage, on $950,000 property, maybe $5,800 to $6,600 a month. So instead of paying $3,000 for an apartment in LA, you're now paying maybe $3,200 to $4,100 a month to own real estate while building equity and appreciation and having consistent distributions. Because the difference in real estate versus stocks is when you buy a stock, you can't pull that money out. You can, but every time you pull out that money, you're shooting yourself in the foot, because that's less money to compound for you in your investment. Whereas in real estate, you are getting those distributions from your rental units while your property or the stock is appreciating. And there's no other investment like that in the world. So like I said, instead of paying that $3,000, it's better to maybe pay a little bit more. In some cases, you can decrease your living expenses on the right deal, on the right property. There's no reason why you shouldn't jump into ownership now. So then, comes year 2, the end of the year, your requirement of living in there for 12 months after the close of escrow. That's how the wealth is going to start. okay? Because now you can rent both units. Now your total rent is $5,000 to $6,600 a month. You've now turned your first property, your first home, into an income producing asset that you can now keep. Okay, so this is how wealth is going to start. This is how financial freedom starts. So how do we do this exactly? Okay, so step by step, step one obviously is going to be, we're going to get you with a lender. We're going to get you pre-approved. And even if your credit's a little bit low, we just need to get it up to 580. We got guys for that. You can't be intimidated by that. There's very easy routes. As long as you have this plan set up, we can get this done in a year. So don't be worried. Don't be hesitant because of your credit. We'll figure it out. And the next step is going to be look specifically, with your agent, with me, for 1 to 4 unit FHA approved properties. Okay, and this is going to be, if you're here in LA, kind of the cities that I like is going to be North Hollywood, Van Nuys, Inglewood, Lake Balboa, Highland Park, maybe Valley Village, maybe Mid City, maybe Koreatown. But there's a lot of options with these duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes. And then the next step is going to be analyze the rental income before buying. And this doesn't mean the scheduled income. This means the actual income. We don't want what a listing agent or what a seller is saying is their expected rental income. We want what they're getting right now. But with these properties, I'm always going to try and find vacant properties, so we're getting market rent for you right off the bat. You don't have to worry about any legacy tenants or people that are locked in with lower rent, because there's no point in investing in something that's not going to pay you what the property's worth. So the next step is going to be write offers, of course. We get the seller credits, we negotiate for those seller credits, we investigate the property, we negotiate requests for repairs, and we make sure that we put that property in the best position to produce income for you once you close on it. Step 5 is going to be close, move in, learn how to manage it. If you want to manage it, you can get a management company, but honestly, you're living in the property. It's going to be easier if you manage it. It's going to hurt your cash flow, right? If you're paying a management company, so it might just be worth it to kind of sacrifice a little bit of that time and manage the property yourself. But then after 12 months, after you've satisfied that FHA requirement of living in the property for a year, you can move out, and now both the units become rentable. The building now becomes a full rental property. The tenants are paying your mortgage, your cash flow grows, your equity builds. This one property becomes your launch pad for your next properties, for your entire real estate portfolio. So now the next step, once you have that first property and you have rental history, you have that experience, now is going to be a lot easier too. But once you have that, you refinance or you buy your next property with a DSCR loan. And DSCR loans are going to be based on rental income or future rental income, not your personal income. So if the rent covers the mortgage based on your lender's ratios, you can buy more properties. And that's what's called good debt. That's what's called leveraging. For example, your cash on cash return is going to be higher on a property you put 25% down on versus 40%. Depending on the cash flow, but in most cases, your cash on cash return is going to be higher, maybe 13 to 14% compared to maybe 10 or 11% on that higher down payment, because the ratio of how much money you invested versus how much is producing, you're actually earning more for your money. Your money's working harder for you. So this is how investors go from, like I said, 1 property to 3 to 5 to 10, not overnight, but steadily and realistically. You start with the FHA duplex or triplex, you hold it, you let appreciation work, you use the cash flow to relocate or refinance to scale, right? And this is going to be how you make a retirement plan that's going to pay you, not one that you're paying into. And your vision the next 10 years, is going to be buying a duplex with FHA, move out, rent all the units out, do it again, or use a DSCR loan to buy the next property, refinance, scale again, rinse and repeat. And by year 10, you have multiple income properties, passive income, wealth, and just an investment that's just constantly going to be giving you consistent distributions while appreciating. And another thing about real estate is, of course, going to be the legacy. You pass it down to your family members, your heirs, your loved ones, your partners, whoever, right? So if you're in Los Angeles and you want to talk strategy, if you want to run some numbers on an actual scenario or an actual property out there, let's get connected. We'll set you up with an FHA or DSCR lender. Once we run those numbers, I'll help you find the best property with the best actual income producing property that you can find in the Los Angeles area, whether that's on the market or off market. And the moment that you stop renting and you start owning and producing income from what you own, the game changes, the whole game, and the game of life, right? So if you're in Los Angeles and you want to talk this strategy, if you're intrigued, and if you want to move forward and help build that generational wealth, let's get started. You can comment house hack, or send me a direct message here on Instagram. Send me an email. I'll get back to you fairly quickly. And I'll send you a breakdown, and we can get started from there. So like the video, subscribe for more, and I'm gonna have some real estate strategy coming up in detail. So yeah, stay tuned. Thank you so much.